time, the 50s. The place, across the nation. Musicians found themselves at the head of a new musical frontier. This is what Alan Freed called rock and roll. It was at this time that we got the legends such as Chuck Berry, Elvis Presley, and countless others. There were many unsung stars of the rock and roll evolution, however, who didn't find that lucky break. Here is the story of one of the best, the Chords.
The first drum set, of course, was made out of cardboard boxes, but my uncle got me a set of drums. It was a big 28-inch bass drum with a picture of a girl who wasn't dressed on the front. My uncle, who was had a television shop, also gave me a PA system which I used to play along the records with in my basement. And rock and roll was just starting to come in, but I like the big bands. I like to play along with them. So that's how I learned how to play big band music, by listening and then trying to play the exact same thing as Gene Krupa would be playing. Jordan Krieger and the Top Notes. That's when I was around 14, 15 years old. We used to go around and play dances and Jewish synagogues where they had dances, and we made maybe some $2, $3 a night just to go out to play. But there wasn't the money. It was and then being out in the limelight and playing, being able to play my drums and taking a drum solo and having all those kids yelling and screaming, and that's what I loved. Like once again in high school, like still love to play, but they wouldn't accept me in the bands, in the high school bands, because I didn't know how to read music. I can't have my band in high school, so I'll try to get a band from the band and get different players that I thought they could play out of the high school band, and I'll form my own band at home. We had like an alto and two tenors and maybe two trumpet players, an upright bass player, and Erwin Pennock on piano, and of course me on drums. Then once in a while we get a guitar player and they wouldn't show up. It was a hard thing to keep the band together because a lot of kids for school, they didn't want to come to rehearsals, they didn't want to practice. So it wound up we would have arguments and who was going to be the leader and who wasn't going to be the leader and who was going to play this in this section, who was going to play first sax or second sax.
I'm playing the second time. You don't play it the first time. You're out right now, Barry. Okay, you're out of the band. All right, that's all. Ready?
So out of that, we formed a group called the Chords. It consisted of 5 guys. We made a little recording in the basement one time, and we were trying to imitate the Benny Goodman Quartet.
And now the Benny Goodman Quartet, playing After You're Gone.
So maybe the bad piano was out of tune. It'd be hard to figure out which record was the true Benny Goodman. After we got done, we started saying, hey, we got a good group here, you know, why don't we stay together as the Chords, the 5 Chords. We said to ourselves, well, look, we have to change our names, because that was a big thing, and I changed my name from David Nadley to Don Neer. Erwin Pennock became Fillmore. While we were still in high school, there was one outstanding thing that we did. We auditioned for a show called the Ted Mack Amateur Hour. It was held in New York City, and we played one song, and the song was called See You Later, Alligator. It was made popular by Bill Haley and his Comets, and about a month later we got a letter from Ted Mack. Holy mackerels, we're going to be on, TV, national TV.
Was it your father who wrote to us?
No, sir. It was Dave's father, Dave Nadley, our drummer.
Well, he must have thought the band was pretty good. He wrote us a pretty good letter.
Well, I don't know about that. We rehearse over his house and make a heck of a lot of noise. I think he wants to get rid of us for a while.
We added major sevenths and major ninths and things to make it sound like we're really hip. We wanted to play rock and roll, but we wanted to do it in a way that we were also hip. And I took a drum solo doing that performance. So video guys in charge of the production, the video, the cameras, and all the guys that were going with making gestures. Cut. That's it. Cut the drum solo. And I'm looking at them and I'm saying, yeah, I know all about it. But finally, I got into dot, 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 because we were only allowed so much time. Says, well, enough of this. He said, I'm going to leave high school. I said, you're crazy. And he knew an agent. His father says, yeah, quit high school. You're going to be a big star. You have a great voice. And he was taking vocal lessons and piano lessons at the time. But somehow, I don't remember how I asked my mother and father if I could quit high school and go on the road and become a musician. And we went down to 4 pieces. It was myself, Phil Moore, Bobby Stark, and Joe Carr. We traveled out through the Midwest, Canada, Hamilton, Ontario, Miami Beach, Florida, Davenport, Iowa, and all through Indiana, Illinois, and those states. And we just went on the road for about a year and got really good, got really tight with the 4 Chords. We made records that were put on the Metro label, which was a subsidiary of MGM. We did a thing called the Elephant Walk.
They will show you how to get down. Walking through the city.
We went on the Alan Freed show at that time with the Elephant Roll, and it didn't become a big hit, but it gave us a name. And we actually were on the Bandstand show too with Dick Clark, and we went on with our record Little Angel at that time.
Where do you belong, little angel? Where are you flying to?
And didn't become a hit, but like I say, we were getting exposure through the TV. And we did some radio shows also. So in 1958, we worked in a club called the Club Esquire in Dayton, Ohio. And that was a nice town, Dayton, Ohio, because my agent had to send me all the way out to Dayton, Ohio to meet my wife. That's where I met my wife. I had to go 500 miles to meet my wife, Julie. The second time we went back, they liked us so much that they used to do a remote broadcast from the club. And then they used to give us a spot, maybe 15 minutes, 2 times each night, where we would actually go over the radio broadcast right from the club. And he would interview us while we were playing in the club, and we would do maybe 3 or 4 songs. While we played in Wildwood, we played opposite some top acts. They brought in Larry Williams, who recorded his big hit at the time, was Boney Maroney.
I've got a gal named Boney Maroney.
The Chords were doing Boney Maroney also. We did Boney Maroney, and we had an act to it. Our act was based, we did it funny. And Larry Williams would come out after he was done. He would sit in the audience and watch us do his song, and he would say, you guys are better than me. I made the hit, but you guys sound better than I do with Boney Maroney. And he couldn't believe it. Bobby Darin, he was just starting out. He had a record called, at that time, his first rock and roll record, Splish Splash. We did Splish Splash. And we did Splish Splash with, like I say, we entertained the people. We had Splish Splash, and Phil was at the piano making making noises that he was taking a bath in the shower. And people are laughing and everything at this. But here comes Bobby Darin. He comes out and sings Splish Splash, and people, clap, but it was not entertaining. So we took their songs and incorporated the whole show based around their song. You couldn't just play music. You had to be entertaining. You had to have a show. You did anything. You swung on the trapeze. You just can't get up there and play music and be loud. Then it was entertaining and hearing the words to all the music. Bill Haley and his comments came in and heard us do Rock Around the Clock. Yeah, Rock Around the Clock. Well, people clapped and everything, and Bill Haley clapped for us, and I never, with his little curl that he had in front of him, looking up at us and clapping for us. It was just a thrill to us that we can do that we were working at a club in Miami Beach, Florida. One of the top acts down there at the time when we were down there was the Four Aces. And here the Four Aces come into our club, and we did the song called Love is a Many Splendored Thing. We brought the house down that night. We went over and met the Four Aces. We met Al Alberts and the other 3 fellas, and they said they couldn't get over how we sounded so much like them, and even better. Like I said, the Four Chords became a real good act, an act that could have made a lot of money, but Phil's father said, from now on, since Phil is the main guy and he does all the arranging, he does all the singing, it should be not the Chords anymore, but Phil Moore and the Chords. Well, that started an uprising, mainly amongst the other 2 players. I really didn't care because Phil was my buddy and we went through high school together. I don't care if it was Phil on the Chords or Donald Duck on the Chords. I don't care who it was, but I was playing music and I just liked music. Well, Phil went on his own, and he asked me to come with him, and I went with him, and the other 2 fellas went their way, and we tried to keep together the name The Chords. Phil started recording more records. At that time, the kids were going to the neighborhood, to eat. They would have pizza pie, so we named the song called Pizza Pie. We thought that would be a good gimmick. You had to come up with a gimmick in the 50s.
She ordered another pizza pie. Pizza, pizza, pizza pie. Pizza, pizza, pizza pie.
At that time, we were going up against some top thing. Elvis Presley was just coming in on his own. He wasn't a star, but he was coming. He was ahead of us. In fact, I meant to say that Elvis Presley was actually on the Tamac Amateur Hour. That's how where he started. Elvis Presley playing acoustic guitar as a country singer. Bill Haley and his Comets. They were a country rock group. They didn't even play rock and roll. They didn't know anything about the 50s. They came in at that time. Well, we were coming in at the same time, but these other groups just seemed to get better breaks. They had their own sound, but we were right in back of them. And like I said, we could have made it if we would have stayed together.
You know, that telephone number now is Judson 67000 or Box 191, Radio City.